What is up, you guys? Marty McFly coming at you, bringing you guys the merch. It is almost our time, dear friends. It is almost that wonderful, wonderful holiday that we call Halloween. That time of year when the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest, and we get to experience all the darkness, the macabre, the melancholy that is the season and the holiday of Halloween, All Hallows Eve, the festival of Samhain. You know, that time of year, the end of summer, the beginning of the dark age, and of course, Halloween. And I know there's so many videos out there that talk about what people like to do during this holiday, what are their favorites, what are their favorite music, what are their favorite movies, all of these things. And I just wanted to take a moment to share some of the things that I found really important, some traditions that I uphold every year. And I think I'm going to start by doing movies. And I think that is a great way to kind of garner some similarities between people. And you know, especially at this time of the year, we love to focus on the macabre, the horror, the Halloween movies, the festivals, Monster Fest, Fear Fest on AMC, you know, all these different things, the Simpsons special, rewatching the same movies every year because it just brings us so much joy. This is certainly my favorite holiday. I love Christmas, but this season means so much to me, and this holiday means so much to me. So I would like to start by just talking about some of my favorite films and things that I watch every year. And of course, there are books, movies, albums, artists, different things that we all like. And I feel like, what better way to start than the Halloween season with horror movies? And of course, what better way to start than with Trick or Treat and Sam, the serial killer? I think he qualifies. I mean, he doesn't do it directly, well, except for almost. But every time he's around, people die. So of course I wanted to start with Trick or Treat. This is an anthology series. Of course, there's so many Halloween anthology series that we like to watch this time of year, but this is certainly my favorite. And Sam, the character, is now pretty much a labeled icon for those of people that like these types of movies. People who love the Halloween season. You'll see his figure and this pumpkin everywhere, especially at Spirit Halloween. It really is a fantastic anthology series with a couple mini stories that all bind together at the end with one big reveal. And we have now gotten the green light that the next Trick or Treat series is being written in comic book form, which I think would mean that hopefully the movie's not too far around the corner. It's not a Patreon, but the GoFundMe basically is up for Trick or Treat Part 2. So you can actually pitch into that starting now. Can't wait to see what that brings. Honestly, this is one of my favorite Halloween movies of all time. I know I'm on the old DVD edition over here. But I just loved how all the stories that are so grim and macabre all pieced together. I don't want to spoil this if you haven't seen this, so spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen this yet. You know, take the second, maybe rewind about, or fast forward about 30 seconds, and then you'll be good. So spoiler alert, wow, there's your last chance. All the stories in here I think are fantastic, but I loved how everything meshes together in the werewolf story. I mean, I really was not expecting any of that, and I think that was such a great thing. I didn't read the comic or the graphic novel before I saw the movie, and the werewolf reveal was fantastic. So, of course, this is something I watch every year. I watched a couple, let's be honest with you, I watch this a couple times a year, not even just at Halloween, but it's certainly one of my favorite Halloween series to watch now. It's been on repeat for me every year. And I would probably say one of the oldest traditions in my house, and certainly for a lot of people, if you didn't get your parents to record this when it was on TV and you missed the special, it was like missing the holiday itself. If I didn't get a chance to see this was, I don't think we had a VHS copy of this growing up, but my dad recorded it on VHS via the TV, and that was the only way I remember being able to watch this. But of course, it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. My favorite Charlie Brown story, my favorite Charlie Brown movie, of course it comes with an extra on there. But when I think about Halloween vibes and the feels I want out of Halloween, this is it. This is the one that captures how I feel about the holiday. And I'm sure a lot of people I've noticed on YouTube, and then a lot of my friends, people on Instagram, a lot of them feel the exact same way, that the vibes and the spookiness of this, but with the older cartoons, is the vibe that we all look forward to in Halloween. You know, Halloween's really changed, especially if you live in a urban area that's not as semi-rural and you're really stuck in a concrete jungle, it's really hard to encapsulate these feelings of like the pumpkin patch, the darkness and the coolness of the pumpkin patches and the cornfields and the small town, the farming community. It's really hard to encapsulate this and get those feelings back. And even going the first, if you look at the first like 2 minutes of this movie with the music and the spooky witches and the oohs and the ahs and everything, I feel like that vibe is something that is so hard to get in anything nowadays with modernism and modern decorations, and it really is just something that we wish we could encapsulate. But I have to watch this every year. I'll be honest with you, I watch this even when it's not Halloween. This is just another one that I just really love. And a famous story that a lot of people, I'm sure most people have seen this at this point. I love the story with Snoopy, and the something that me and my dad used to talk about every year is just we'd try to emulate the crying when Snoopy's singing or hanging out the piano's being played, and he just starts going wah over and over and over again. That is just something that me and my dad used to laugh at about every year. We always look forward to it. And this really just does have a special place in my heart. But this is another one of those things. It's like with the Christmas specials. If you didn't have them on VHS or you didn't record them onto a VHS via just watching TV and hitting the record and play button, if you missed it, it was like missing the holiday. So that's how I felt about this movie in particular. Next up, there is a Halloween mention in this movie, but this is another one I like to watch at this time of the year. And because it's got the cold autumnal vibes, it's really got that inescapable, like, melancholy and loneliness that you get from this movie. And then, of course, it being one of the greatest horror movies of time, William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist. Just, I mean, wow. William Friedkin and William Peter Blatty, they worked together to make this as close to the book as possible. And there's like, you talk about how William Peter Blatty, when he was helping out with his movie, he encapsulated so much of the book. And that's what I loved about this movie so much. Now, granted, I saw the movie first when I was like 5 years old, traumatized me for life, especially that girl's face, and never forgot it. And of course, eventually I had to read the book, and the book is sensational. It's on par with the movie. I'd say both of them are just equally incredible. The book is fantastic, but there's a little bit of Halloween vibes in this, especially there's like a scene where like it's actually on Halloween. But it's just another classic. I have to watch it every year. If you haven't seen it, please do, before someone spoils it for you. Now, this movie, even though it's not on Halloween, still has Halloween vibes because, other than the fact that it's just a horror movie and it's a slasher, but the movie, the high school feels, it almost could be on Halloween. And I know with the most recent edition, they tried to really poke it at Halloween. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like anything after part 4. 1 through 4, 3 is a train wreck, but now we love it because it's like a cult thing and whatever. It's so far down the road, we kind of forgive it for being so bad. I loved part 4, but I'll be honest with you, 5 and 6 just sucked. I don't know why they're getting so much praise. Maybe it's the whole Gen Z thing because they didn't grow up with the originals like we did. The original Scream. Of course, these are like some pretty old DVDs that I've had, but this movie, I have to watch it. I have to watch it a couple times a year as well, but I always watch it around Halloween because even though it's not on Halloween, I still get Halloween vibes from it. And it's just a classic. It's just a classic. I mean, they really did break the fourth wall with these. And, rest in peace, man, Wes Craven. Rest in peace, man. We dearly miss you. I'll be honest with you. I hated 5 and 6. Sorry for all of you guys that really enjoyed them. I don't think Melissa Brera is a good actress. She's so flat affected. Someone should check on her to make sure she's not suicidal. I mean, maybe that was the point of the film series, to make her just flat affect, but she's not a good actress. I mean, good grief. Nothing good comes out of teen drama like Pretty Little Liars. Let's stop pretending she's an amazing actress. She's so, no, she sucks. And now she's not going to be in the 7th one because of drama, bad things, whatever. And I really hope that if they do, and when they do make part 7, and Neve Campbell comes back, that they really do this series justice with a good finale. Because 5 and 6 were terrible. But Scream 1 through 4, watch them every year. Of course, I'm just going to show you this one for right now. But now this is a newer movie, and unfortunately the release date really screwed the movie. And it's one of my new favorite classics as far as horror movies goes. It's one of my favorite new classics as far as Halloween movies goes. This is, of course, is Cobweb. And I mean, You want to talk about autumnal Halloween vibes? This is the one. This is the one. The old Pennsylvanian Victorian home, the creaky floorboards, the leafies everywhere, people. The leafies. You know what I'm talking about when you talk about the leafies. I mean, you can see them back there. There's leafies. Crunchy leafies. Crunchy leafies are like orgasmic. I mean, it's a vibe. And unfortunately, this movie did not get the love of it deserved. I remember seeing the commercials for it, seeing a different movie in theaters, and being like, what is this? I have to go see this. And of course, I did. Fell in love with it immediately. And it did not go on a good day. Let's just say it partnered up with a couple other movies all at the same time and got no love. And it really sucks because it was a huge release date for like 2 other movies. And you can look them up. And unfortunately, this one just got sheltered. The ending of the movie, I will say, is very rushed. And it pains me because I want to know so much more. And they leave so much out. And it's kind of irritating. But this movie, if you want autumnal Halloween vibes, this is the one. The last 30 minutes is so bonkers and through the roof. You do not expect it. It just turns so violent so fast, and I love it. It's fantastic. I mean, I really was not expecting what they did with this movie. Not only are you kind of rooting for the main character, and then all of a sudden you're not, and then everything just goes haywire. And I love the creature. I would love to see a NECA version of the creature to see what it looks like. I really hope they revisit it, though, because this has so much potential. Whether they do a prequel to show things, where the creature came from, or at least a direct sequel to see what happens to the boy, because I want to see what happens after this, damn it. So, Cobweb, go see it. Another strange thing, it's got Lizzie Kaplan, and it's got Anthony Starr in it, and it's so weird to see Anthony Starr in something that's not The Boys. But they both do a great job, and he's kind of a dick in this one, too, I'll be honest with you. Now, where do we start? Let's give some honorable mentions that I don't have the DVDs out in front of me for right now. Let's do some honorable mentions. Nightmare Before Christmas. Of course, I have to watch that every year. I watch it for Christmas and Halloween. The Friday the 13th series. You know what? I try to peek my head into a couple of them every Halloween season, especially if it's on AMC. I'll be honest with you, I don't have cable anymore. I don't know who still does. But I do try to watch a couple of them every year, whether it's usually the 1 through 4. And then the remake. I think the 2009 remake, Friday the 13th, is one of the best horror remakes ever made. It's just balls to the wall, awesome. You have some characters you care about, some characters you're like, oh, he gonna die. Yeah, he gonna die. And Jason is just like steroided out, just a fantastic version of Jason. And I mean, he's more of a survivalist, and I think that's what I love about 2009 era Jason Voorhees. He's more of a survivalist. He's beefed out. He's got amazing traps, and he kind of just wants to be left alone, but people won't leave him alone. It's not like, I mean, yeah, he's still a dick, but like, he still gets a bunch of people. But I thought the movie was outstanding as far as slashers goes. But I still usually try to peek my head in there. And then, of course, A Nightmare on Elm Street is another one I have to watch every Halloween. I usually at least get in 1 and 2. I do like the remake. I know I'm a minority here in this case, but I enjoyed the remake. I know, like, James Earl Haley, he did a great job for what he was given. I feel bad because, like, the main actor and the main actress, those two, there's interviews with how they didn't really care about the movie, which really sucks because, they sold me their character, but it sucks that they didn't care about their characters in the movie. And, obviously, it really is hard to have A Nightmare on Elm Street without the 2 most important people that could contribute to that series. I mean, having the OG Freddy not be in the movie, and without, that schlocky, slap-happy horror that he does with the back talk, not having that humor, I feel like makes a difference. But the movie's way more serious, it's way darker. They do a reveal, which was always kind of like an understood, but they didn't talk about it. But now they're like talked about it, and it really is a departure from what you expect from a Freddy movie. But I still really enjoyed it. It still spooked me out. I like the micro naps thing, and I like just like how unforgiving and dark and twisted it is. And I mean, that's what we want from a slasher movie. So I enjoyed it. I know I'm in the minority there, but I usually have to watch several of those a year as well. There's so many ways you can go with this. I mean, you have Tales of Halloween, which is an anthology series. I will say my newest honorable mention, I saw Terrifier 1 right around the time. I still remember the the GoFundMe is coming out for these. And I remember the first time I saw the commercial for Terrifier 1 saying it was going to be released, and I said, what is this? And I remembered, like, the Ninth Circle. I remembered, you know, the anthology series with Art the Clown, but when I saw the commercials for how brutal Terrifier 1 was, and then actually seeing Terrifier 1 with the banana split, oh, man, brutal. Well, now Terrifier 2, with some very famous scenes in that movie too, unforgiving, sadistic, just brutal, cruel, mean-spirited Art the Clown. There's some scenes in that I kind of have to do, you know, one of those where I'm like, oh, I kind of want to watch it, but I kind of don't want to watch it. And there's a couple of those where I might just pull out my phone because it's a little brutal. But you know, the practical effects, of course, being like a Tom Savini wet dream. And I would say Terrifier 2 is now the movie I watch every Halloween, if not sometime other in the year. I think I've already watched it twice this year. But it's just straight Halloween autumnal vibes. It's got a grindhouse grittiness to the film itself. Art the Clown's just brutal, but it's still Halloween. And I mean, the scenes like in the Halloween shop, it's just exactly what you want from a horror movie at this time of year. So Terrifier 2, I would say, is another honorable mention. I would say Terrifier 1 scared me more because it's shorter. There's not a lot of story. There's not a lot of lore yet. And it's just suffocating. I feel so claustrophobic and trapped. Like I can't get out and then there's nowhere to go. And it's very rare that a movie makes me feel that way. So the Terrifier series is now coming into my Halloween domain every year, ever since... I would say, like, I watched part 1 once. I was like, cool. A+, scared the crap out of me. But now that I saw 2 when 2 first came out. And now I feel like 2 is... It's Terrifier 2 is now in my zone of, like, where I have to watch every Halloween. So those are some honorable mentions. There's a plethora. There's literally thousands of movies we could talk about that come out this time of the year. There's so many, and I only have time to share, but these are some of the ones that I have to watch every year. There's a couple more I watch every year. I mean, there's just so many out there, though. Those are just some ones that I think of and that I like to talk about. Last but not least, the best of all of them, the movie that really got me... I mean, I always loved horror movies growing up. I always loved The Wolfman and the classics. And this is the first movie that really scared me the most as a kid. I remember being 10 years old, around Halloween, we were having a Halloween party, and I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, what's a good, scary movie we can watch on Halloween? And of course, my pop was talking about John Carpenter's Halloween. The Night He Came Home, 1978. Michael Myers. Brutal, man. Well, this, to me, is my favorite horror movie of all time. It's my favorite horror series of all time. We don't talk about Resurrection because it's a pile of trash. I mean, Busta Rhymes, really? 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 I mean, they're really trying to, like, phone in the crappy 2000s horror that we have. I mean, we had some good ones. We had, like, Valentine and whatever, but it really phoned in the crappy 2000s horror vibe, which no one was trying to replicate. But Halloween Resurrection tried to do it to appeal to that audience. It's just so bad. Even Halloween Ends, I mean, I don't like saying Weak Michael. Halloween Ends is just such a punk rock movie, and I really do enjoy it for that aspect. I just hate what they did to Michael. It pisses me off. But this is the one that started it all for me, guys. I watch this series every year. I usually watch this one on Halloween Day. I will wait. I save it up until Halloween Day. And these others, I have all of them except for Resurrection, because no one's trying to buy that. Even 6 isn't great, but at least 6 has Donald Pleasance in it. And even though 6 is pretty terrible, and they don't even have, like, anybody in it that we really care about. I mean, you know, Danielle's not in it, and, I mean, 6 is pretty bad. But I could still get through it, because there's some decent scenes in that one that were still spooky, that felt very Michael. But these others, I watch them all year long. Halloween 2, Halloween 4. I would say it's a tough call, because I love Halloween 2 because it's so directly after Halloween 1. There's some, like, moments in there where are kind of schlocky, like, you know, calling Samhain Samhain and the cop with the flashlight everywhere in a well-lit room. Like, the flashlight's really that necessary? I don't know. You know, Amazing Grace, Come Sit on My Face. You guys know about all that stuff. Halloween 2, Halloween 1, but they're back and back to me. But I would say the very next closest one, and everybody agrees about the vibes of this movie, is Halloween 4. I mean, the opening sequence to this film is everything we love about Halloween movies and Halloween feels in the autumn. It was filmed in Utah, and they actually included some autumn for a change. If you don't recall, Halloween 1 was filmed in California in, like, the summer. They used a giant wind fan to blow a bag of leaves around to create the autumnal feel. But Halloween 4 is close up there, man. It's definitely one of my favorites of all time, one of my favorite movies of all time. But I would put this neck and neck with Halloween 2 next to the OG. And the OG is, like, just above that. But, of course, the Halloween series, that's what keeps me coming back every year. And there's so many other movies out there, and if you guys think of more movies that you watch at this time of year, let me know. I'm dying to always constantly see more, read more, do more. So let me know what you guys have found out. I mean, there's just so many out there. I mean, of course, you got, like, some of the cartoon films. I watch Sleepy Hollow every year as well. There's Monster House, there's The October House, there's just so many out there. This is just the small list of some of the things that I watch every year. But if you guys have more, what are your favorites? What are you guys watching this week? You know, I'm dying to know. Let me know what you guys are doing this week. I hope everyone's taking care of each other. I hope you guys have a wonderful, beautiful, safe, and happy, healthy Halloween. Cheers.